Monopoly, the board game adored and despised by families across the world. Famous for creating frustration and feuds alike, I wanted to see if I could elevate the game with just one thing: COGS.
What is this COGS? Monopoly life size. Huh? In 2021, we worked with Path Entertainment Group to help bring together Monopoly Life Size, where you get to step onto the board, roll the dice, and play mini challenge rooms as a way to buy your way around the properties. COGS runs at the centre of that show, and I wanted to see if I could bring some of that magic to my own Monopoly board. Using sensors, lighting, and with a few tricks up my sleeve, I'm going to challenge myself to bring this together in just a couple of days. And of course, you can't play Monopoly alone, so in just 4 days' time, I've invited Alex to come and play. You know Alex. This guy.
So come with me while we try to figure it out. Okay, so let's run through some of the functions that I want the game to have. Taking a look at the Monopoly board, the first thing is I want to be able to track players around the board. So my main thought is to use a computed value to store all of the properties in them, and then just have a read switch underneath each one. So to tie in with this, I'm hoping to have the dice rolling automated in COGS as well. So what players will do is they'll press a button on the board, it will roll the dice for them. That's one of my thoughts about getting that sort of digital player movement around the board. The next idea is to be able to automate the cash balance and have a buy button on the board. So we can track the cash that they've got in the game in COGS. And what we can do is say if they land on Northumberland Avenue and it's not been bought by anyone, we can just subtract the value of that property from their cash balance. So that seems pretty easy to add in. Now, the next thing I want to do is to add sound effects everywhere. So whether that's they land on a property, I want it to have a sound effect. I want a soundtrack to the game, so as soon as the game begins, there is life behind the board. And to add into that, I want to have lighting. So I want to have LEDs in each of the properties, as well as maybe a couple dotted around the board as well. And then the final thought of the moment is community chest and chance. So I originally thought about using something like the Media Master app running on a mobile in order to hide it underneath the board so that we can then display information on both the community chest and the chance cards. So what I'm actually thinking of is to have one sort of 7-inch screen built into here in the board instead. So we can here display the dice rolls, we can display which properties players need to move to, and we can actually have a bit more of a central hub of information for players playing the game. So I've got Sam, who's our technical solutions engineer, to actually work up some custom content for me. So what that's going to allow me to do is from COGS directly send information to this screen so we can display those separate elements. So that's a couple of thoughts, depending on how much time we've got. Some of those might come to fruition, some of them might not, but that's the overall aim, is to basically make this game as lifelike as possible. So let's get building. So in order to get started, I have to get pretty destructive. Yesterday, I did actually build a base for our Monopoly board. What's going to happen is once we've sort of started to do a lot of the brunt work on this, I'm going to attach the board to the base. But there are a couple of things I need to do without this attached first. So I'm going to start to drill some holes and then get the copper tape out. Okay, so we've got all of the LED housings hot glued in. If I have individual reed switches here, it's going to have a lot of wiring, but I can actually hack that a little bit. So on the Digital Master, the ground is actually shared across the entire Digital Master. So what it means is that I could share the ground pins of all of my reed switches going around this board. And the way I've thought about doing it is by using some of this copper tape. So that's the thing I'm going to have a go at next, is placing the board on, seeing how much wiggle room we've got around it, and hopefully starting to solder on my reed switches. There we go, I think this is going to work quite well. Okay, so I've got the board attached to the base. The copper strip is all soldered to the reed switches and they're taped down as well, just for a little bit more security as we start connecting wires to them. So now it's gone to test the reed switches. So if I connect my ground just to my multimeter here, so all I'm doing here is just using the resistance setting just to make sure that reed switch is working. So we're going to test this one here. So if you keep an eye on the number up here, as soon as I bring this magnet close to it, you can see it drops down towards 0 and then back up. Next, we're going to attach some buttons to the board. There's two that I'm currently thinking we're going to have. One is a button to roll the dice, and the other is a big arcade style button that we're going to have so players can press that to buy a property. So the current state of affairs is the board is currently here with all of the LED holders in and ready to go. All of the reed switches soldered in with the main ground wire connected just underneath go. And I'm starting to install the button for rolling the dice. I'm trying to get into this arcade button, but it's being pretty annoying. Okay, so Monopoly Day 2. I've already done a couple of little bits this morning, so I've attached the buy button to the board and it's wired up and ready to go. And now I'm going to do the most destructive task, which is mounting the screen. So here I've just cut out a stencil, which is the size of my display, or as much of the display that I want to show through. Now I do have loads of the excess wood that I used to build the frame, so what I'm thinking is actually just propping some of this up underneath to help me with the cutting. We've now got a hole in our board. So the idea is that we can have our screen mounted in here like this, and then we can display the information we want on it. So I'm going to get some card just to cover up this bit here. I'll neaten up the edge as well, just so we've got a nice border. And then we'll mount this in and I'll show you what it will look like when it has some content on it. Okay, so I've got my screen connected to COGS. I've got my little router set up just behind here so we can test this locally. In my build tab, I'm going to import an asset. This is actually the inspiration I've given to Sam in order to create our custom content. So let's just preview this on our Media Master. And there we go. So this is what we're going to have in a rough sort in the gameplay. So you can see here we've got a background that roughly matches the board background. And what we're going to have is this card that looks like one of the properties. So it's going to have the player's turn to say whether it's player 1, player 2, player 3, and so on. It's going to generate a dice roll for them here. And then as a result of that, it's going to tell them which property to go to. This is just to see that the screen works. I'm really happy with that. Okay, so next step, we've got our servo master connected, again, to the small offline network. So I'm just going to pair with my servo master. So you can see here that I've added a little cutout on the board. We've got the arm attached to the servo arm. But let me just add a servo channel here quickly. So I'm just going to add a servo. I'm going to patch it to port 1. Ooh. The plan is, so when players either get a go to jail chance card or they land on the go to jail square, the warden will start whistling and wave his arm to tell them to go back. I'm really happy with this. So what I've got is I've got all of these different LEDs. Helpfully, I've got an LED for each of the colours of the board, which is pretty useful. Some of the ways they've coloured these don't actually match the colour of the LEDs. So for example, the red and brown are pink LEDs, obviously. All of the LEDs are hot glued in. I've shared all of the positive wires because they're going to connect into our DMX decoders in order to give them power, and then it's the negatives or the grounds that are connected into the channels for us to control them. Somewhat of a problem. I'm thinking about connecting in all of the reed switches so that basically the underside of this is done for now. Basically, what the way I was going to do this is I bought the one-way Wago inline connectors, and I was just going to pop onto the end of each of the reed switches and connect in my cables. But the pins on the end of the reed switches aren't long enough. So here is a soldering montage. Okay, so after that grueling experience of soldering all of those pins on, all of our reed switches are wired up. So what I'm going to do is connect them into my digital master, and hopefully we can test them, flip the board over, and try and get all of these reed switches working. We've got all of our breakouts plugged into our digital masters. So we've got 2 digital masters here, taking up a total of 10 ports. All the reed switches are connected in. So I've got a magnet just here. So on COGS, let's just see. So let's have a look here. There we go. So we can see these going up as we're moving through. So all of these are working. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to connect up all the LEDs just to make sure they all work. And then I'm going to call it a day. So let's get some light on this board. I think this is a good place to sign off, considering all of our inputs, except one, and the majority of our lights are working. Good morning and welcome to day 3. So today is quite a big one because we're going to move into programming. So you can see we've got LEDs and reed switches and stuff on the board from where we left it yesterday. The first thing I'm going to do today is just wire up the train station lights, because then that's all of the lighting done on the board. But actually just before that, I'm going to connect everything up just under this desk so that we've got the board ready to connect. So when we start doing programming, we can just swizzle around and test things on here. Now, this is the unglamorous bit that you don't see, which is the picking up of all of the tiny Cat5 strands. Just a little bit of behind the scenes that you don't often see. Okay, so because we're about to start programming, I decided it was time for the big cup of tea. So here's the plan. We've got our board fully connected up here. All of our LEDs are controlled by DMX. All of our inputs are working, all of the read switches, except income tax. The screen is working, we've got audio working, and the servo is working. So that's all of the components in and ready to go. Okay, so now we're going to move properly into the programming. So what I've got here is I've got a computed value, which is going to be the one that stores all of our tile information or our properties. So let's go into a property example. So you can see we've got the name of the property, which is Old Kent Road. We've got the type, which is a property, as opposed to a go or a community chest. Below that, we've got the costs. Anytime they land on that property, if they want to buy it, we can take away the cost of it from their bank balance. We can reference the colour set as well. So the colour of Old Kent Road is brown. And then under this as well, we've got the bought state. So here we can actually reference a variable. So if I go to the variables tab, you can see we've got Old Kent Road owner, which is an option variable, and I've got none, and then I've got all of the 6 different players that could buy that property. So here, what it's going to return is it's going to return true or false, and we can use that when we get a player landing on the property. So we can either push them down the route of buying the property or paying the rent that's associated with that property. Because obviously we're using you can hear the music coming from there, because we're using the magnets in the read switches, we want it to, when a player lands on a property, we want it to do something, right? So if I say that player 1 is the car, for example, as soon as player 1 then moves around the board and ends up on King's Cross Station, it's going to play the sound effect of their character. So things are getting very exciting now. So I've just got off the phone with Sam again, got some really cool functions in now. In the game of Monopoly, they're pretty simple, but actually making them digital has become a little bit harder. So things like the utility companies, so we were working out the rents. So if you own one of the properties, the value is 4 times what's on the dice, whereas if you own both companies, it's 10 times. Now, because we're doing the dice digitally, that's really easy to do, and doing all of that calculation in one place rather than doing multiple checks. Okay, so end of day 3, we're in a very good position. So I've spoken to Sam again. I've done a lot of talking to Sam today, and he sent over the draft custom content. What he's made is incredible. So I can't wait for you to see in the gameplay tomorrow. The gameplay works. So we've only tested it with 1 player currently, but by looking at the way we've built it, just duplicating this to make 2 players will be really easy to do. I'm really excited about the custom content. Some of the stuff that's in there it's more than I asked for, and it's really going to make this game. I'm excited to get started again tomorrow. We've got a couple of hours before Alex gets here, so I'm going to finish off some programming in the morning. I'm going to move this into the living room where Alex is going to play, so I'll catch you then. Okay, so it's the morning of day 4. Today is the day.
I'm here at Paddington Station, and I'm going down to the COGS lab to play COGSopoly, which James has built, and I genuinely have no idea what he's done.
So the only outstanding things I think I need to do are assign an RFID tag for saying it's the next player's turn. A couple more programming things. Also, I've done small little things like stick the magnets on the bottom of the tokens. It's those small annoying things now, just in order to get this past the line.
I'm very excited. On the way.
But we're so close.
There he is.
Hello, welcome to Monopoly COGSopoly.
Right, so Alex is here. I've sent him out to go and get some lunch. So now's the time to actually move the board over and hope nothing breaks in the meantime. It works well, not portable. That's my key takeaway. Hello.
Hello.
You all right? COGSopoly, welcome.
Well,
So,
I am very excited to play this.
yes, okay.
And it's a feast for the eyes.
It's a pretty good looking thing. The best way to start is to just play. So we've got a choice of characters here. So we've got the race car.
Race car.
And we've got the Scotty dog. As you're a founder of Clockwork Dog, would you like to be the dog?
I would love to be the dog.
Okay, so in the game setup, that means you're player 2, I'm player 1. So I will start on go.
Okay.
And should we start the game?
Okie doke. Yes, let's start the game. Amazing.
Okay, got a little introduction.
That was really cool. It's the best start to any Monopoly board game I've ever played It's just like a little bit of music and just like, here we go. So, but I'm player 2, right?
You're player 2, so I'm player 1. So what I'm going to do, you can see we're not playing with actual dice. So on top of the board here, we've got a little button with some dice on it. So if I press roll the dice.
Ooh.
So player 1, which is the car, is going to move 10 spaces. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, nothing happens here because we're just passing jail.
Okay.
Your turn. So this is one of the things that we were talking about this morning. So there's a lot of elements to the game of Monopoly where players can move their turn on. So whether as a result of an action or by paying rent on a property, you can end your turn by a community chest or a chance card. So there wasn't an easy way to make it so that the turns always move on automatically. So we've got an RFID card here, which is next player's turn. So once I'm done with my turn, I'm going to tap it onto Mr. Monopoly, and now it's player's 2's turn.
Of course. All right, okay.
So if you'd like to roll the dice.
All right. Oh, that's so satisfying.
You've got a 6.
That is so, oh yeah, and that lit up.
Okay, so if you move your character.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Okay, so you've landed on the Angel Islington.
So good.
So would you like to purchase the Angel Islington?
Yeah.
You'd like to press it? Go
Right,
on,
okay,
press the buy
so
button.
press the buy button.
So you're paying 100 Monopoly cash for it.
Oh, look at that.
And you can also tell that this property is owned because the LED is on bright,
Yeah.
whereas everything else is dark. So we now know that that property is bought. Great. Now it's my turn. So would you like to do next player's turn?
So I got to just go.
Tap to Mr. Monopoly. Now it's my go. So I'll roll the dice. Ooh, an 8. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Marlborough Street. Yeah, I'll buy Marlborough Street.
Buy. Ching-ching.
And Marlborough Street. So you can see here actually, underneath Marlborough Street, we've got the car icon. So this is how, when we land on a property or we get to a property, we can see that it's owned by a certain player.
That is wicked.
It's really
that
cool.
you managed to do that in 2 days.
Well, Sam Lee managed to do this in 2 days.
This is why we hired Sam Lee.
Yes. So what we can also see here as well, so we've got the player icon in the top right corner, so we know that it's player 1's turn, and player 1 has then bought that property.
Exceptional.
So that's my turn done. So we'll move on. After you.
All right. Roll the dice.
Ooh, 8.
8. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Northumberland Avenue.
So okay, it's 160.
160,
So
yeah.
I think I'll buy that as well. Cool, so everything's digital. So essentially, I don't have any cards in front of me. I don't collect anything. Everything COGS is remembering all of this.
COGS is remembering all of this, exactly. So I'm just keeping an eye on COGS here actually, and
So I can actually see what property I'm on, what dice I rolled, how much bank I've got.
and then when we go to jail, we've got information, the token as well, so you're the dog. And then on the side here, so on our show dashboard, we've just got all the properties grouped by type, and we've got player 2 owns the Angel Islington, whereas player 1 owns Marlborough Street. So we've got all of those here. So it's now my turn, so player 1. So I rolled the dice. We've got 4. So where am I now? 1, 2, 3, 4. So we've got a chance card. There we go. No! Go to jail.
Oh my God.
No, I've got to go to jail.
Oh, that's cool.
So the warden.
I guess the warden,
is
is waving, is wagging.
He's wagging his finger and pointing you back to jail.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go back to jail now.
Oh my God, that's so cool.
And player 1 is now in jail. So that's the end of my turn. Okay. So we'll go to the next player turn.
Right, so 7. Okay. Oh, 1,
Oh,
2,
you paid
3,
me
4,
rent.
5, 6, 7.
So-
I'm on Trafalgar Square, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Okay, there we go.
It's shown that it's owned by the car, which is me, and
Yeah.
the rent is 20.
So this is the joy of automating Monopoly, basically, but we still get to physically play it. This is amazing. Thank you so much, James, for doing this.
This has been
Honestly,
a pleasure. This has been a fantastic couple of days of getting the board from opening the box fresh to this day. I'm really pleased with the result. And obviously there's quirks along the way, but that's COGSopoly.
That's COGSopoly. That's COGSopoly, my friends.
Alex has headed back to London. The result of what we got, I am really happy with. We were saying during the gameplay that the digital dice rolling, I think it's a really nice function. The way that Sam's done the custom content for this is incredible. I was not expecting this by any means, and I really think this ties the whole thing together. It's the custom content we've got on the screen here. Now, the function of the actual game, I think works really well. You know, you land on a property, community chest, get out of jail free. I think these functions work really well. I think it's also quite important, as Alex and I mentioned, to keep the physical elements of the game. There's a sort of nostalgia to it in physically moving around a board, not having to worry about the cheating that's going on with players fiddling the bank balance or people trying to trade off properties. Because all of the core game elements exist in COGS, then actually, as a player, you're just focusing on moving around the board, rolling the dice, and buying those properties. The way that Sam showed me to build it, allowing you to expand the game with multiple players, I think is such a good way of looking at these larger projects, especially, this is the way that we built things like the Traitors experience. There are, in the Traitors experience, I think there's about 8 of the round table rooms, and they all have the same function, but obviously they need to be individual in their own right to know that we're talking about this room to one of the iPads as opposed to this room. So making sure that the gameplay of one table or one player works perfectly, and then just duplicating that without having to make any changes in each of the scenes, I think is such a genius mindset to have. Also, I think it's worth saying that as a project, this has been really fun. Being able to take something that already exists and people know how it works, to then just adding something on top of that, I think is a really great tool for creating a project like this. What do you think? Let us know in the comments if you would have made any other changes to this, if you would have made mini games, if you would have penalised players if they did something rather than something else. Also, feel free to let us know any other ideas you've got for games like this, if you want us to develop a COGS Cluedo board, for example. Remember, you can also check out the Inventures podcast. Hosted by Alex, he talks to the creators of immersive experiences and asks them to design a show where the only limit is their imagination. So thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you on the next video.